So today is Sunday, April 27th, 2025. And it's been a while since I made the last video on this YouTube channel, but I want to try something new. I want to post new videos pretty much every day. New video, just like share my life progress and how it's going and where it's going. So to give you guys a breakdown of the kind of person I am, so you guys can keep up with what I'm going through personally, business, finances, whatever. I try to be as transparent and honest as possible. So who am I? Well, I am 31 years old, male, and I'm not going to give too much of my personal information, but I was born in a quite poor or developing country, you could say, and I happen to have the opportunity or the privilege to have studied abroad from a young age. I grew up abroad, and currently I am back home in my home country due to business reasons and due to personal reasons. And I don't know, I felt throughout the past few months, it's been quite a long time since I spent I don't know, it's been a few months since I kind of resituated back home in my original home birth country, you could say. And it's been a few months, but then, a few things that was perhaps for me was useful was knowing astrological charts, Vedic astrology, I believe it's called. Now, if you guys want to try something, try Astro Sage. You can put your date of birth, blah blah blah, whatever, and it'll give you a breakdown: date of birth, where you were born, and what time. You have to try to be as specific as possible, okay? If you want to be accurate with your readings and measurements. So I don't know, the last few months it was it was a time for me to soul search, understand who I am as a person, what I want to do in this world, because I'm not young anymore. I'm in my peak phase of where I build my life and foundation, right? So yeah, it's Astro Sage. It's a good website, resource for you to look into, and also look into some of your astrological signs, whatever. Now, some of you might think it's like woo-woo, spiritual, blah blah blah, new age bullshit, but just give it a try. For me, in my case, it was quite accurate to a certain degree. It told me where I wanted to live, and what kind of environment I'm most suited in, and the types of professions, careers I should go into, and really reading in between the lines was quite interesting. So use Astro Sage along with, I don't know, ChatGPT, and just like do a bit of a reading for yourself. Now, obviously, if you have the paid version for ChatGPT, it might be more suitable and might be more accurate for you. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. However, in my case, okay, the reason why I'm starting to do these videos is to figure myself out, okay? Figure myself out and who I am as a person, what kind of characteristics, personalities I have. Because if you know who you are as a person, your natural inclinations, your natural traits, whatever, what you're happy with, what you're not happy with, it makes things so much easier, okay? So yeah, since I'll be divulging a lot of my personal information and whatever, blah blah blah, I won't have my own face. So there's like I won't connect it with my own personal identity. Okay, so anyways, but I'll try to be as transparent as possible. So in my case, it came up to be, in my case, I made these readings, and it showed, in my case, it showed that I'm more foreign influenced, and that's how my life was. That my birth chart showed me that I'm foreign influenced. I'm more gravitated towards like foreign stuff. Gravitated towards foreign stuff. And in my case, I've lived abroad in quite a few countries in Europe, North America. And in my case, I never really felt home wherever I went because I felt like there's a deep sense of home root. But despite that, whenever I came back to visit my home country, the problem was I never felt truly like I belonged home as well. The people, like now, after having lived here for a few months back home, I feel like I don't necessarily fully belong here. I don't feel like people understand me, my career, my life, and my happiness. I feel like it's limited. Okay, so yeah, in my case, I spent 20 something years living abroad. I said I'm 31 years old, right? But I've spent 20 something years, close to 20 something years abroad in different countries. And I never truly felt home. And there was always, like, I was always searching for something, somewhere to belong. And funnily enough, in Astro Sage and Vedic astrology, based on birth chart, whatever, it told me like pretty much the same thing. However, now it's kind of like grounding. It said it's in a phase of growth and expansion, grounding, kind of like settling in and really finding yourself and building a solid base and foundation. So in my case, my strengths, okay, strengths and weaknesses. I think it's really important to know your strengths and weaknesses. In my case, it was quite innovative. Innovative. I learned languages quite easily because of my early childhood. Languages easily, and also I adapt quite well in different environments, different countries, different cultures. And also I have quite an analytical mind, okay? Analytical, but also creative. Creative and analytical, kind of like mix of both. Analytical, creative. And overall it told me I could be happy in certain fields that are related to consulting, finance, foreign trade. What else? Consulting and like spiritual teaching, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, so those were a few of my strengths and weaknesses. So in your case, it's different. Everyone is different. People have different inclinations, talents, and personalities. So look into yourself more now. In my case, weaknesses. It said I was impulsive, and that's true. I made very impulsive decisions in my earlier growth phase. Impulsive, and also like emotionally. Now this can be a strength or weakness, but emotionally very intense. Emotionally intense and easy to get attached to people, like emotionally, like most romantically. Okay. And speaking from experience, yes, I fall in love with people I barely knew, or like infatuated with someone I barely knew, maybe met once or twice. So like I don't know, just it was quite interesting to have your charts kind of tell you like this is what you've gone through, this is how your life has been. So it was quite interesting. All right, so it was kind of like that, and then moving on. So strengths and weaknesses. So where am I right now? Where am I? I'm back home in my home country. So I was going through a confusing phase of should I stay or move back? Like stay, move here, or go somewhere else. Go somewhere else. And the more I stay, the longer I stay. When I first initially returned, I was thinking more so like stay and move here and kind of like build up my base and settle down here. But the longer I stayed, my heart, my intuition was telling me it's not here. Like life is not here. I'm not happy here. I'm not living up to my full potential. Kind of like settling for less. That's how I felt. And when I used like my astrology charts and the Vedic astrology with ChatGPT, it said, yeah, you know, if you want to reach your full potential, if you want to really be happy, you have to go somewhere. You have to go somewhere else. Now, I'm not going to say exactly where, but it told me somewhere near body of water. Body of water, excuse my handwriting, with mountains. Okay, I'll try to write better with mountains. Okay, and more like green, a city that combines both nature but also a bustling city, you know, bustling city with bustling and developed city, bustling developed city. All right, so this is what told me, and it ended up being Canada. Okay, Canada. And in my case, it told me in 2026, I have a real high probability of, excuse me, of a high probability and chance of qualifying for like permanent residency. And funnily enough, I'm basically native fluent level English speaker, so it helps. Also, I've been studying French from a young age. So it's like for permanent residency, blah, 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 whatever. It showed that I had good chances of qualifying and getting a permanent residency and maybe to citizenship. Okay, why am I talking about this? Well, I'm talking about where you live and the possibilities, and the place you're born doesn't necessarily have to be how you're going to spend your life and live your life. Especially if you're considering your happiness, your own potential, living your own potential, okay? So I don't know, in my case, it showed that it was in Canada, in a specific city. I'm not going to say which specific city, but funnily enough, I was nearby. One of the best places that I've ever been in was in the States, like in a particular city in the States. And they're quite close to each other. And I felt really drawn to that city because of nature, the vibe, and the people and whatnot. And the city in the U.S., it's quite close to the city I'm talking about in Canada. So I don't know. It felt quite interesting how I felt really connected. I felt really drawn to this city in the United States, and where Canada is basically like right next to each other, you know. So, anyways, now in my case, what's my background? As I said, there are a few strengths and weaknesses, blah 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 blah, and then for the past few years, I've been mostly working in tech, marketing, and entrepreneurship, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay. Now these skills, you know, these are something I've been doing for quite a long time, for almost 10 years professionally. Okay. And the last 10 years since I graduated university, in my case, I was just like finding, what am I doing with my life, you know? Because yes, I was doing entrepreneurship, I was doing marketing, I was in tech, but then I didn't really have a understanding, or didn't really fully know where I'm going in life. And I feel like now it makes more sense. So, what's my net worth? To be honest, I only have a car. Still renting house, but I would say, yeah, depending on the value of my car and some other belongings, 14 to 16K net worth. Okay. Luckily, I don't have any specific big debts or anything. But I am, and tourism, I like foreign travel, and tourism for me has been part of my identity. I'm always traveling to different countries, different places. So I am trying to build my own little resort in my home country where people can camp, glamping, blah blah blah, whatever. So in this case, I don't know, maybe by the end of 2025, I want to have at least MVP, which is the minimum valuable product, I believe. Minimum viable, not valuable, minimum viable product for my resort. Now my resort, or this glamping resort that I'm building, hopefully it'll be somewhat done MVP by 2025, and then it'll net me around let's be conservative, net positive profit cash flow about 3K per month. Okay, about 3K per month. And I do have a few other businesses. I do sell certain products abroad, and I do have. So what do I sell? Well, I sell tents, like cultural products from my home country, tents and cultural products. Currently, which nets me about, on average, on average, I would say on average 1K per month. Currently. Now, because I was working in tech marketing, blah blah blah, I was working remotely, digital nomad kind of lifestyle. I would say my average income was 1 to 3K per month last 20 years. And I spend most of my money, just partying, blah blah blah, not really saving, unfortunately. So we'll talk more about savings. We'll talk more about putting your funds and money into something that'll grow, and you don't want to be spending all your money in this and just partying and wasting it away. Okay, so yeah. So starting April 27th, I just wanted to give a breakdown of where I am as a person, who I am, and kind of like my growth and how life is heading. It might be interesting for you to perhaps see actual proof and interesting growth, like day-to-day growth, and it's also a way for me to keep myself accountable for my life and being productive and living the best life that I can live. And hopefully this will inspire you as well. Okay, and in 2025, oh, some things I forgot to mention. I'm not married. Never been married. Not married. Still single. But recently I met, supposedly in my Vedic astrology chart, it said I went through a phase of intense soulful connection, which was true around April, early April. That's when it happened. And I don't know, I'll see where it goes. Hopefully, just it's important to strategize, and also it's a fun way to look back and say, hey, this kind of worked out, this didn't work out, blah blah blah, whatever. So my plans for the future, I plan on getting Canadian PR, build my resort, or like a small glamping resort, blah blah blah, whatever, and grow my online slash e-commerce store. Now I'll talk more about that in the future, what I've done, what I have been doing. So we'll talk more about the nitty-gritty stuff in the coming few months. Okay, so until then, I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys later in future videos. Subscribe if you want to keep updated with this. All right, so until then, bye bye.